Part 2 of the daily operation training will explain how to create a full voyage reporting with SmartLog Desktop. For this purpose, we will use a random route plan to explain the essential criteria for reporting. SmartLog reporting is based on creating events and reports. Events contain only a timestamp. They can be created and sent with a single mouse click. Reports contain, in addition, data. Some events require an additional report for detailed information. In such cases, the report will be created automatically, but needs manual completion. Most events and reports are generated in pairs. For example, a begin of pilotage event requires an end of pilotage event, and a begin of sea passage report always require an end of sea passage report, etc. Exemptions are the position report, also known as noon report, the bunkering report, and the stoppage report. If the pairs are not complete, inconsistencies will occur in the log abstract and will require corrections. We are starting with the basic voyage sequence, as it would be created on a passage from one port to another, without any incidents or special occurrence. The reporting sequence will be as follows. We create the event departure, which will automatically open the departure report form. This requires manual completion. Incomplete reports are highlighted. Next will be the event begin of pilotage, followed by end of pilotage. The event begin of sea passage will initiate the begin of sea passage report. Until the next event, only position or noon reports will be created. When coming to the next port, the sequence of events and reports starts with the end of sea passage event, in combination with the related report. Then the two pilotage events, arrival event and arrival report. This reporting sequence is completed now. Before dealing with further reports, let's have a look to the SmartLog HMI. By means of the history page, we go quickly through the events and reports. The following reporting sequences will deal with specific situations during ship operation. We will start with anchoring. When anchoring is part of a passage, 3 different reporting sequences are available. After the input of date and time, it is necessary to define the purpose for anchoring. This is relevant for EUMRV emission reporting. Depending on the purpose, there might be a correction factor for the calculation of the Carbon Intensity Index CII. The first is STS Ops, standing for ship-to-ship cargo operation outside the port. The second is OPL waiting, which means waiting off port limits when no cargo operation is taking place, and the third is WPL waiting, indicating waiting within port limits. For beginning, we are looking at the easiest case, the vessel waiting for the berth before entering the harbour. In this case, the option WPL waiting is required when the vessel is within port limits, otherwise please use the OPL option. For this video, we are using WPL. Step number 1 is the end of sea passage event in combination with the EOSP report. Next will be the begin of anchorage event and a position report. Until the end of anchorage, position reports will be generated at noon time. The end of anchorage event is combined again with a position report. The sequence is finished with the begin and end of pilotage events and the arrival event plus report. The combination of an anchorage event with a position report is not required by regulatory requirements, but might be required by corporate rules. In this case, the time difference between event and report should be as small as possible, ideally a minute after the event. Like before, we are going through the sequence in the SmartLog application. By using the history page, we have access to the full content of events and reports. Now we will have a look on anchorage and bunkering reports. The first part of the sequence is identical to the basic reporting scheme. Therefore, we will start with the last position report before the vessel goes at anchor for bunkering. Anchoring is an interruption of the sea passage, and therefore we are starting the sequence with an end of sea passage event and the corresponding report. Afterwards, we continue with the begin of anchorage event. When editing the begin of anchorage event, make sure that the off-port limits or within port limits designation is correct. For bunkering, it is important to use the bunkering report and not the ship-to-ship off-port limits report. This will have an impact on the EUMRV report at the end of the year. The bunkering report is the tool which is essential for updating the fuel ROB figures. Most of the required information is available on the Bunker Delivery Note BDN. Note that the unit for density at 15 degrees Celsius is kilogram per cubic meter. When bunkering is done and the passage will be continued, the next step will be the end of anchorage event in combination with a stoppage report. Now it might be necessary to make use of the Enable All function to select the correct event or report. Thereafter, the reporting sequence from anchorage to port is identical to the basic reporting sequence which has been shown before. This is how the sequence looks in the SmartLog HMI. We are using again the history page to go through the individual events or reports. It starts with end of sea passage and begin of anchorage. The most important parts of the bunkering report are the correct timestamps for bunkering and the inputs for the bunkering lot. You are already familiar with the other entries from the basic reporting sequence. When having a look to the fuel page, you will realize that the bunker lot from Le Havre is the latest entry and that the fuel ROB is up to date. STS ops or ship-to-ship operations require slightly more reporting. The sequence starts with the end of sea passage event and the related report. When the begin of anchorage event is filled out, the STS ops option has to be selected. It initiates a stoppage report, which is followed by an STS report. Ensure that the first STS report matches with the time of begin of STS operations, and the last STS report matches with the time of end of STS operations. It is mandatory that changed cargo quantities have to be reported in STS reports. When the STS operation is finished, the begin of sea passage report initiates the continuation of the passage. For STS operations stretching over multiple days, you can send a sequence of daily STS reports if required. The CII correction factor will be automatically applied based on the distance time threshold, which is 600 nautical miles over 72 hours, between departure and first STS report or last STS report and arrival report, respectively, that a change in cargo quantity has been reported. You must not use STS reports for bunkering operations. Same as for the previous sequences, let's have a quick look on the SmartLog HMI. For a canal transit, SmartLog is following the same scheme as before, but there are a few things to consider. The canal transit is the end of sea passage, but you must not declare the canal entrance, for example Suez, an arrival or departure point, except you enter the port for berthing. Having this in mind, the reporting sequence includes only a few new elements. It starts with the end of sea passage event and report, followed by the arrival pilot event, then begin of pilotage, entering the canal transit, which may include a position report, leaving the canal, end of pilotage, and finally begin of sea passage. Like with previous reporting schemes, it is important that the event or report pairs are complete. For example, end and begin of sea passage, begin and end of pilotage, or entering and leaving the canal. For emergencies, efficiency is vital. In case of an emergency, just create the event begin of emergency and attach a position report to it. Do the same later for end of an emergency. Create begin and end of an emergency always as a pair together. Make use of the comment function in the position report to explain the nature of the emergency. Finally, a few words about navigating in ice. As soon as you're navigating in ice, it is required to report this with an extra position report. Same when you are leaving the ice. You must not mix periods of navigating within ice and period in open sea in the same position report. It is only either or. Every position report should be either for a period sailing entirely in open water or entirely within the ice. Ensure that the distance reported for distance sailed in ice and distance over ground, since last report match exactly. This sequence completes the training for voyage reporting. In part 3 of this chapter, we will demonstrate how to correct reports in SmartLog.